Welcome to the Property Couch, where each week you get to listen to two of Australia's leading experts. Bryce Holdaway, co-host of Location Australia on Foxtel's Lifestyle Channel, co-host of Escape from the City on the ABC, and partner of Empower Wealth Advisory. Ben Kingsley, chair of Property Investors Council of Australia and the founder of Empower Wealth Advisory, named the 2018 and 2019 Property Advisory Firm of the Year. Stay tuned as they bring you the insider's guide to property, finance and money management.
All right, folks, welcome back to the summer series of the Property Couch. It's been very, very enjoyable to do this series. Ben, it's been very, very enjoyable to do it with you. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, yes. I'm learning a lot. This special guest that we've got on today, Bryce, she, before we press go, she said, I don't really know whether anything I've got to share is going to be any good for anybody. We said, well, let us be the judge. Let us be the judge. Let's just have a chat.
And did she deliver?
Oh, did she deliver?
So, yes. Folks, for those of you listening to this, I'd love for you to see this as an opportunity because Ben's right. When we were speaking to Keren, she wasn't sure at the beginning, and you might notice that early on that she's thinking, really, is there anything that I can share here?
Yeah.
But I tell you what, when she gets into second gear, there's some real gold there. So it's interesting to see what challenged her to be on her money story around her family tree. You'll get access to that. Absolutely adopted the Money Smart system. So there's loads in this episode. We're sure you're going to absolutely love it. So let's cut to the interview that we did with Keren White. All right, today, Ben, we've got a very special guest. We have Keren White, who's joined us for our summer series, and I'm pretty excited about this, Ben, because we teach these frameworks, we get these guests on, but Keren is actually at the coalface of someone who's actually implementing a lot of the information that we talk about.
That's great.
Hopefully making a difference in her life. We're excited to unpack that a little bit more. But Keren, welcome to the Property Couch.
Thank you for having me. This is extremely exciting.
Oh, thank you. It's exciting.
Well, we're excited too, right? The fact that we're doing all the things that we talk about. We want to see whether it's actually made a difference. That's the big story.
Hey, Keren, what we've observed over Ben and I doing this over 4+ years now is the fact that he and I can bang on and rabbit on about some stuff. But what most people get the learning from is listening to people like you who've gone, okay, well, here's the information. This is how I've digested it. And here's how I've actually implemented it. Because Ben signs off the podcast, as you know, that knowledge is empowering, but only if you act on it. So you are the last part of that sentence. You have acted on it. Which is pretty cool. Tell us a little bit about you. Give us a bit of the backstory.
Yeah, so I live in Sydney with my husband. Just work the old Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Nothing too exciting there. Husband the same. He's an electrician, working full time as well. So we've always been interested in property, and we kind of just needed a bit more help to get to the goal, I guess.
Yeah. When you say you're always interested in property, what did that mean for you? Were you turning up at opens, you cursory glance?
Probably not that interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, my dad's a builder and an architect, so property's been in my life since I was a child, I guess. It's just part of everyday life. So I guess it was just my standard way of thinking, like it was part of every person's future and it was something to work towards. I wouldn't say I was going to open homes all the time, but we always knew that we wanted to invest in property. We just didn't really know how to get there.
And how did you come to that conclusion? Can we just go upstream a little bit further? You grew up in a household. Did you talk about money in your household? What about?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I wouldn't say we had a lot of money to play with as kids. It was always a budget. So, I guess I just saw property as a way to kind of secure your future.
So your parents had a budget? They used to run a money budget?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what were the observations of that? You saw your parents running a budget. Your dad was involved in property. Was money... did it flow? Did you scrimp and save? Was everything put into the mortgage? There was some lessons over the dinner table. Was there any sort of legacy from that?
Yeah, I think there was always money going to the mortgage just because there was always another project in the near future. As a kid, I pretty much grew up with unpainted walls, doors with no door handles.
Okay. So renovation, selling, cooking, that's what your dad was doing, okay?
Yeah.
So you were always in a flip, were you? He was building something to sell and move, building to sell and move. What was that like for a kid to go through that? Well, I was in probably 2 houses when I was growing up. Sounds like you're in a house every year.
Yeah. We're in a few. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Always somewhere new and exciting. Changed schools a little, but
and you
don't think it damaged me too much.
so were you buying, was it, ugliest house in the best street type thing, and then he was
all brand new builds as well.
Yeah, perfect. So all just really good sort of programs of value adding and what was going on there. So you could see the transformation in the building that you were living in.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Yeah, okay.
Keren, what would you describe as your money management habits when you left home? What was the path that you were on in terms of being able to trap any surplus that you had at the end of the bills?
Well, unfortunately, when I moved out of home, I didn't take on too much of what my parents taught me. I used to live week to week, and I enjoyed spending time with friends, and that was pretty much my focus for a lot of years.
Paycheck, sort of spend and not a favour.
Yeah, I liked to think I was good at saving, but now when I look back, it wasn't really the case. So,
did you run credit cards, or did you run personal debt, or were you more of, I'd only spend what I had?
Yeah, I always knew that was a really bad situation to get into. So, I steered away from it as much as I could.
So you did get those lessons from your parents about some diligence around it, but if the money was there, you were spending it. So you weren't using other people's money, i.e. the classic case of credit cards and personal loans and all that type of thing. So and
I kind of always thought, well, if having a family and having a mortgage brings, the requirement for so much planning and budgeting, maybe I don't want that.
Yeah.
Don't want to be boxed in.
So you, with Terence and you when you do meet your future partner, right, there is that conversation around how you organise your money. Did you pull your money together quickly, or did you run
did.
So pulled the money, beautiful. And what sort of money habits did Terence have compared to you? Were they aligned, or were they different, or did someone...
Yeah, pretty similar. He was living pretty much the same way as I was, which was having a really good time. Weekends, all about fun. Nothing too serious. We weren't really planning too far ahead.
Yep.
Obviously, when we met, we continued that for a short time until we had a bit of a wake-up call where a very close friend of ours was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He passed about 6 months later. So that was, I guess, a really, it was a huge moment in our lives where we kind of went, maybe we need to, live life a bit more seriously. Maybe we need to think about the future. And that was pretty much a turning point for us, which, we started saving, we opened a joint account, and we'd only been together for about a year. We pulled all our money and we just said, right, we're a team, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it as well as we can. But we just we winged it a little.
Yeah.
Was there any friction points with you and Terence at that point? Because what you've described is things were good at home. You left home and you lived for the moment, and that wasn't a problem for you. Then you met a partner and you guys were still cruising, and then obviously a significant event happened that was terrible, that made you sort of straighten up a little bit. But up to that point, up until the realisation that you might have to do something about it, were there any friction points with money management in the household?
No, not really. I can't recall any. My husband is extremely relaxed. He is the most chill person you ever meet. He doesn't like confrontation, and everything we discussed, we just came to a mutual agreement that this is probably the best way to go about it, and just went full steam ahead.
Who drove the conversation around money then? Was it if Terence is relaxed, were you more the driver, or was he more the driver?
Probably.
Because what's unusual about your story is in events of major trauma and so forth, where you lose someone who's close to you, the history tells us that people then focus on living now, not actually looking for delayed gratification, right? They're sort of saying, life is so short, life is so precious, we are saving for the future. Stuff that. Let's go to Bali. Let's do whatever we need to do now, right? So I saw a lot of, when my brother lost his wife, or a fiance suddenly, all her girlfriends basically said, 37, she's gone, right? Like, let's make sure we fit as much as we can into the day now. And I'm sort of saying, well, yeah, it doesn't happen to everyone. You know, hers was a freak accident. But so it's just different in terms of, you said, we want to get serious at life. There's more to life. We want bigger goals, bigger dreams. And you turn that into a situation where you're able to say, all right, let's focus on some of the bigger rocks that we want to go after, because that's important to us. So that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a bit about, you then pivot and you go, I want to plan for the future. How are you going about putting that plan into place?
Well, pretty much we thought we'll just write up a budget and we'll just stick to it and it'll be fine. We'll just sit and wait. It didn't quite work that well. 3 years into our relationship, we decided to get married. So that blew all of our savings away. And we started again from zero. But we did the same thing. We just set a budget. We got like a savings account with a bonus interest set up. So if you didn't withdraw money for the month, you got more interest paid. So we thought this is a great idea because that's going to make sure we don't spend our money. Well, now looking back, that was a terrible idea because we didn't want to put too much money in there because we couldn't take it out. So we were putting less than we probably should have and leaving extra left over in the kitty just in case something came up. And we could have been saving so much more. But we just,
So why didn't budgeting, like the budgeting 101 work for you? What were some of the things that, is it just because it didn't change your behaviour or because the money was there? Or tell us some of the...
Yeah, I don't think it changed our behaviour. Over the years of saving, we still holidayed every year overseas. We still had like vacays, so just like 3-4 day weekends around the country because you think that's going to be cheaper, but it's not in reality.
What do you call it, a vacay?
Yeah, just like a vacation. So just 3-4 days away, not a holiday. But
the vacay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, maybe up to Queensland or over to Perth or just for a couple of days. We were still doing all of that stuff because basically we would get paid into a joint account. We would automatically transfer money to a savings account. We had a holiday account. We pretty much did everything wrong now that I look back on it. We had a holiday account, a utilities bank account. We had a car account.
Lots of buckets.
Just so many buckets. And so the way I saw it was, well, the car doesn't really have anything coming up due, like registration or anything like that. And it's running pretty well. So I don't think we really need that $3,000 in there. I'll just take 2 out and we'll go away for the weekend. So that happened quite a lot. There was nothing really changed in our lifestyle. There was no indicators to say, maybe we shouldn't go out for a $200 dinner.
So you departmentalised your money, but that didn't change your behaviour around your money. You just basically could shuffle money around. So were you checking in on your money? So were you doing any type of, here's our target, this is what our budget says we were going to be able to earn, and in 3 months we should be at this level? Or was there any type of audit that was going on, or was it just like, oh, look, we've got a bit of savings, it's all in the different buckets? How did you sort of check in with your money?
Well, I mean, obviously I could easily use a calendar and calculate how much money we should have in 3 months' time. That was obviously a goal, but I guess there was no plan to check in at particular points and see how we were going and see whether or not we were running behind. It was just kind of there. And I guess we didn't really have a dollar value we were aiming for either. So it made it really difficult because what are we aiming for? How long is it going to take? I mean, obviously we want to buy a piece of property, but we don't even know how much it's going to cost. So what's a deposit? What's a 10% deposit on something you don't know? So we didn't really have a clear goal, and I think that got quite boring. Just putting money into an account and just waiting for something good to happen later on. Pretty much just pushing money around. Because what we did was we did our budget and we went, this is how much money we need for food, this is how much we need for entertainment, alcohol, going to the cinema, whatever it is. That's all our weekend fun. then we'll put this money away for holidays, etc. And then, well, this is how much is left, so that'll go in the savings account. That was sort of how we did it.
Yeah. Okay. So fast forward to now, what changes have you made? I know that's a leading question because I know that you've implemented Money Smarts. So tell us, take us to life just before Money Smarts, and then understanding it, and
how
then
did you stumble across it?
Implementing it. Yeah. Take us through that.
Look, it actually was just this year. It wasn't too long ago, but I was in New Zealand with my parents. We're in Queenstown just on a holiday, and we were looking at property around there. I grew up in Queenstown, so it was just sort of driving around looking at old houses with my dad. It was very fun. So I said, right, that's it. I'm going to get serious. When we get back, I'm going to buy another property, our second property. And I said, I just need to get a goal. This is how much I'm going to save at Christmas. And he went, you can't do that. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah, great.
So,
that's the advice your dad's ever given you.
Yeah.
So I came home and I did what I used to do, which is I drew up this budget and I was like, well, how much do I need to save to get to this goal? It was a very similar situation to how I used to budget. I then became really active. Like, obviously I was listening to a lot of podcasts. That's how I came across Money Smarts. I implemented it randomly one night. It took a little while, but once I finally had it up and running, I realized how much extra I could save compared to what I had originally budgeted. It did take a bit of time going through and putting all the information in there, especially when it comes to utilities. Oh, there are so many utilities to pay. And you just forget about random ones, like the ones that come yearly for the vehicles. It does take a while because once you think you've got everything in there, another bill will come in and you're like, oh no, I've got to go back in and add that one. So it did take a bit of changing and updating. But now that I've implemented this, I can just see everything on a screen. It's amazing. And I'm a very visual person. I'm not really a numbers person. So Money Smarts is amazing because it's so colorful. It's got all the little diagrams and yeah, I just really love it. It's got, annual household income. It's got total outgoings, and then obviously your surplus, what's left, and then you can look at that monthly and annually, which I absolutely love because I know that if I want to beat that target, I just have to pull back on some other things, and I know there are things I can pull back on. So yeah,
you just made Ben's day, Keren, because what you're talking about is his beloved Money Smarts portal, which is freely available to all of our podcast listeners. But
anyone.
What it's done is it allows the detailed people to get stuck in the numbers, and it allows the visual people to see the bigger picture. But I guess at the end of the day, we're not really taught that you need to run your household like you'd run a business, right? Because if you're left at the wheel of a business, you'd work out how much revenue there is, you'd work out how much expenses you are, you'd methodically plan cash flow to make sure you don't run out. And then if you didn't have it, you wouldn't do it, right? So the behaviour around a business is quite straightforward, but it's interesting that when we put it into our own circumstances, the behaviour around our own challenges. You talked about it before. Oh, there's $3,000 in the bank, and I don't need that for the car. I can take $2,000. That's the behaviour.
Well.
Without a bigger 30,000 foot vision, those decisions are made every single day across this country. In fact, across all developed countries across the world, right? So you're not alone, but. So you can see almost like a dashboard, right? So that you can have a real glance at what your life is, and so you can make decisions quite comfortably informed. Is that right?
Oh, so comfortably. I think I was just thinking about this the other day. Recently, when we were in Canberra for the long weekend, and I met up with some friends to go shopping. I didn't realise we were going to go shopping. I thought we were going out for breakfast, which we did. But then we went shopping, and I was not wearing the right shoes. So we passed a shoe shop, and I had wanted a particular pair of white flat shoes for a while that I just hadn't gone out and bought. And I thought, do we really have this money? I don't know if I should be spending this money on this pair of shoes that I don't really need. Like, obviously I really want them and I will wear them a lot. But today I'm buying them in a bit of a different circumstance where I'm just buying them because I want to be comfortable. But then I realized that my provisions jar has clothing and shoes, which I have not used the last few months. So straight away I just went and bought those shoes, and I did not feel guilty about it at all.
Well, it's rules based, right? You've provided for that at the beginning of the year that says you're going to spend this much money, and then you've got a barometer. You've got a speedometer, you've got a tachometer, whatever you want to call it. That says
all of it's there.
There's an opportunity. So
I think probably also the biggest thing for me is, like, previously I was watching the money grow in the savings account. Now, and obviously we weren't taking any of that out, but it wasn't growing as fast as we wanted it to. Now that all of that money is in the offset account, I'm so much like, it's hardly ever that I would go in there and take money out for something that is not a necessity, because I can see where it's at, and I know that as soon as I take that money out, that saving's gone. So it really makes me think twice, like even 3 times, about whether or not I should be spending that money.
What the listeners can't see, but because we were looking at you on Zoom, is that there was just this. You could see this physical relief as you were even describing that. So making an enormous difference. So what is it? What difference does it mean in your life for you and Terence to actually be able to make decisions like that? The shoe decision is going to be something else next week and something else the week after. It's a vacay.
Yeah.
What is it? What difference does it make to your lifestyle knowing that you are better in control of the cash?
I think, like, as you just said, it's just the relief that you can make these decisions, and it's all calculated. It's all, there are allowances for these things. And I mean, other than the actual spending of money, I think just knowing also that you've got that 7-day float, that is for the next 7 days. And if there's money in there, you can spend it. You don't need to look at what you're spending it on because it's your 7-day float. The rest of it just does itself. Like, it literally just works by itself in the background, and you don't even have to do anything. That's the part that I really love. It's freed up so much of my time.
So you've got the 7-day float that gives you peace to know that I don't have to have any guilt around spending it. I've allocated.
No, and that's for eating out. That's for, if I want to go and have a $20 cocktail, I can do that because that's my 7-day float. It does mean that I'll probably budget on the groceries, but that's the sacrifice you make.
And is it true that it's sort of $10 a month when you're checking in? As you're saying, it takes a while to set it up when you gather and you sort it all out and then you calculate it. It's going to there's some teething stuff in the early stages, but once you're up and running, does it feel like you can jump onto the portal and do your checkup in around $10 a month?
10 minutes.
10 minutes a month?
10 minutes. I would say less than 10 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Because when I jump on, I know that it doesn't matter what that 7-day float account says, because that's going to various different places. All I need to look at is my credit card.
Yep.
Most of those things that are popping up on my credit card are things that are coming out monthly or quarterly. They're the same things that you see popping up all the time. So you can sort of just skim past them. You're like, oh, that's the strata, that's this, that's that.
Yep.
So it's only when you see something pop up that you're like, oh, hang on a second, that's from my provisions jar. I need to go tap that in because I only have a quota of $500 to spend on whatever that product is, and I need to make sure that I log that. So I would say under 10 minutes.
Perfect. And then,
are you okay, mate? Just this must be it's fluffing your pillows.
This stuff.
To see that this is actually working.
This stuff works.
Yeah.
I mean, budgets don't work. This stuff works because it's rules based.
Yeah.
And it traps more surplus.
Well, that's
everyone
a good point.
Should be using it.
Ben said it traps more surplus. In your circumstances, are you trapping more surplus?
Definitely, 100%. So much more than we ever thought possible. I actually found the budget that I did the week I got back from New Zealand, I found that 2 weeks ago and looked at what my prediction was, and we are so far ahead of that.
Wow.
Like, so far. And we've had a few things come up that were completely unexpected. My husband had knee surgery there, and we're still ahead. And I was actually really worried. And that's why I looked to try and find that estimation, because I thought, oh man, if we're behind that, we're not doing very well.
Yeah.
But no, we're still ahead. So, it's working really, really well.
So a lot of people don't get to trap surplus in the first place, which you have done. And then the next thing comes when you trap surplus, you're faced with two decisions. Do I spend that surplus on more lifestyle, or do I spend it on looking forward to the future? And what was the next step for you? How did you further plan once you got your money management under control?
Well, now that I see the numbers ticking up, I'm not taking that out.
Well, that's the gamification piece, right? I mean, it becomes a big game, right? You challenge yourself for essential and discretionary stuff. So it really does become a savings game for those people who want to outbeat their, and there's naturally competitive people in this world. This is a great way of doing that. And then you really do, as you were saying before, Keren, in regards to you question some of those decisions, right? And validating those decisions because you now know the consequence of that decision and whether you have the money or whether you don't have the money, as opposed to most people aren't running that mental dialogue in their mind about being able to do that or not do that. And when you get into that rhythm and that habit, it is transformational. You then start to know, wow, because you see the result. This is a problem with saving a deposit over a 5-year period. Right? You are seeing that immediate result every month. And you are seeing an incremental change every month, and that makes you stick to the program, stick to the rules to keep doing what you're doing. So I'm really pleased that that's been the outcome for you.
And it's all the 1%ers on top of that too. It's that, like, this is obviously a huge change, but it's all those little things that you do start to do. You start to look at prices. You start to wonder whether or not you could wait 4 weeks when it's on sale. Yeah, it changes everything.
Great.
So we always say that money's simple and behaviour is hard because, like, I'm sure you'd agree that the Money Smart system is sort of grade 5 level maths required. There's nothing sort of rocket science about it, but what it does. So therefore, it's available to anyone, right? That's the point. It is incredibly simple, but the behaviour stuff is hard. But what we're hearing from you is it's straightened you up on behaviour. It's been, should I buy it now? Should I wait 4 weeks? Do I definitely need it now? Those are the things that the rules-based system allows you to almost little incremental habits that you practice daily ultimately end up giving you these great habits of improving your behaviour.
Yeah, and I just don't think that would have happened without seeing exactly where the money was going and exactly how much of it was leaving our bank account. Now that we have the credit card set up, I actually know how much our bills cost monthly because that's how much is getting swept on the 30th of the month. So that was a huge eye-opener. I was like, wow, okay, we weren't terrible at saving. We weren't great at saving, but we were just so confused at where all our money was going. Now we know.
Clarity and visual. So again, making the invisible visible. How did Terence go with it? Because you've got a single source of money, but you've got 2 people running the same system. Did that go well? Like, do you do the one single 7-day float, or do you give yourself each a little allowance, or how do you?
Yeah, so we do the 7-day float, which includes a little bit of pocket money.
Yep.
So our investment advisor was like, I don't think you need pocket money. I was like, yes, we do. He's like, so why do you need this? I said, it's only $50 a week each. But that's for, we take our lunch to work and we cook through the week at home. But we just need that extra cash to have to go out with colleagues for coffee at work. I have an Aldi across the road from my work. So, their special buys on a Wednesday are pretty amazing. There's little things that you do just need that extra spare change for. So we do take $50 each out of that for just whatever. And the rest is pretty much just food and entertainment.
And do you run Thursday to Thursday for your?
Yes.
So you're running that. So
have you tested any other days, or have you always done Thursday to Thursday?
We've always done Thursday to Thursday because that's always been a payday for us. So it's just, it's sort of set in stone that that's the day you get paid. That's the day money's available. I guess that's just our way of thinking, and it has been for a long time. So we kept those days. I really like Thursday to Thursday because pocket money comes out on a Thursday or a Friday morning, and Fridays are a bit lax at work. You generally go buy lunch or go out with friends for lunch. There's one thing that we don't do, which is the groceries.
Okay.
So I know that you guys recommend to do the groceries on a Thursday or a Friday. We don't because our weekends are really important to us. And because we work very hard, it's the only downtime that we have when you take away like gym and other stuff through the week. So we will go out for dinner and do what we're going to do on a weekend, but we will keep in mind whatever we spend the remainder is what we eat for the rest of the week.
So you might not be eating on Wednesday night, but you've had a big one.
Look, and it's not too bad when you've got no kids. It's all right? Because your body's your own body, right? But when you need the 5 food groups for the kids, I'd be recommending buying the grocery family because you're going to buy processed crap. But when it's just a couple, it's that makes sense to me, right? You can obviously cut back on the types of meals you're going to have throughout the week if you've had a big weekend.
Yeah, look, we'll always do our groceries and we'll always have really healthy food. I have celiac disease, so I have to eat gluten-free, so I'm pretty much forced to eat healthy.
Welcome to the club. That's me. Yeah.
So, we pretty much have to eat quite healthy anyway, but we'll go out. The reason I don't want...
You have to eat quite healthy when you're a celiac.
That's that court look in your face, Bryce. It's like you haven't been food for a while.
Ben reckons I get fired up when the lawnmower cuts the grass and the fresh but what he doesn't realise is I eat more protein.
When I have them over for a barbecue, I want to know whether I need to throw the grass on the barbie. And so just no, that's not true. It's obviously healthy.
Parents that's called ignorance, but that's okay.
Yes, look, we're always eating healthy, but obviously I'm always trying to find more affordable ways to do that. We'll go and spend our weekend as we do. The reason we don't do our groceries first is because I don't want all that fresh produce just left in the fridge over the weekend. Yeah. I want to buy it on a Monday night. Monday lunchtime, I can pretty much get away with a tin of tuna and a microwave rice and some green beans. That will get me through till we go shopping on a Monday night, and then we buy all of our fresh stuff on a Monday night. So that's kind of what works really well for us. And if we run out of money because we partied too much in the weekend, then we have pantry challenges and freezer challenges.
Excellent. Good. Which is good. Hey, for those listening at home who sort of trying on your story for size and haven't implemented Money Smarts, you talked about because you get paid on a Thursday, that's when you do it. For those folks who get paid on any other day, Ben, the way the money system works is we treat that you pay yourself on a Thursday, which is the 7-day float. So if you receive your income on a Monday or you receive your income on a Friday, that's okay because that's going into the primary account pool.
The rental income all just goes into the pool.
But it's a mindset shift, isn't it? That but if you're truly adopting Money Smarts, you get paid the day you give yourself the 7-day float, irrespective of the revenue that's coming into the pot.
Correct.
That's not when you get paid because
some of it's not yours.
Some of it's not yours. As Keren said, you've got to allocate it to other bills and budgeting and all those sorts of things that come from it. So I think what you're doing is spot on, Keren, but just for those folks playing along at home, if they're not getting paid on Thursday, it's not a disadvantage. You can still make it work.
And how did you stumble across it, Keren? Did you download the original free little summary thing that we had, or did you go straight to the portal? Because I mentioned before we went on air, did you didn't have the book at that stage, which is effectively the instruction manual. How did you do it?
Yeah, I just dove straight in. I heard you guys talking about it. So I just opened it up and I was like, it can't be that hard.
Was it intuitive enough that you, without any of the instructions, you just sort of...
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think the one thing that I would have liked to have known prior was just what things are going in the credit card, what things are going on in the provisions jar. I kind of got a few things mixed up, but it only took a month or two to sort it out.
Right.
And when I say a month or two, obviously just popping in, once a week and having a look at it.
Yeah. Because there is a default for most items that are already in there, but you're absolutely right. I mean, grab the book. It's all in the book. There's a lot of detail in terms of how we would categorise and what virtual jars, whether it's the 7-day float, whether it's a credit card, whether it's a provision account, all of that's in there.
For a limited time, when you go to makemoneysimpleagain.com.au, you can download the digital version for free. Keren, what would you say if someone was listening to this and they're going, okay, well, that all makes sense what you're saying, and but I'm not adopting Money Smarts, and I'd be considering what would your advice be to them?
Have you told your girlfriends or have you told your friends? Do you talk about it? Is it something?
Oh, my goodness. I got asked a random pass-by question the other day by a friend at work. She said, so we've just bought this new house. What do you think we should do with the mortgage payments now? Because we've got the other house as well. And I was like, sit down, love.
Beautiful. Pay it forward, you beauty. That's great.
Yeah. And look, I did read the book. I do own it. I did read it after implementing Money Smarts, but I have given it to other people to read. I can't recommend it enough. I think if you're not doing it, why are you not doing it?
Mm-hmm.
It's free. It's online. You don't even have to get dressed and leave the house. It's literally amazing. I just did it on a Saturday morning when I was home. My husband was at work, and I thought, let's just jump on the iPad and have a play around. And yeah, there's, I think you've previously said, there's no personal information in there. You don't even have to put your real name. 100% get on it. It has absolutely transformed our lives to the point where we don't even think about money now. Like, we literally don't think about it week to week. We just know that on Thursday there's money in the account. Now we can go shopping, we can go out for dinner, we can go have a few drinks, we can do whatever we want. And as long as that money lasts till the Wednesday, we're good to go.
Yeah. There's my Christmas present right there. I'm very happy that that's been the case for Keren. That is awesome.
That is why we wrote the book. That is why we've been trying to teach as many people as we can on the podcast.
And there's thousands of others in exactly the same doing what you're doing. So
it's so satisfying to know that.
And look, with the credit card situation, the first time I heard that, I was like, "Whoa, back up! I'm not going and getting a credit card. What are you talking about?" Because I've always been very cautious of making sure I'm not in debt. And that was a huge hurdle for me buying an investment property, obviously. But it just makes so much sense. So I previously didn't realise that the interest that is being charged to the mortgage, that's daily, calculated daily. So I didn't realise that at all. So when I actually wrapped my head around the fact that the reason that we're using the credit card is because it's basically borrowed money. It's free money for the month while you're keeping your own money. And I can tell you last month, my credit card was over $5,000 for the 1 month. Obviously that came, the surgery was involved in that as well. But that was $5,000 that was sitting in our offset for a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was really hard for me to get over that mindset that I had about credit cards. But now that it's just set up to automatically sweep at the end of the month, it actually is better for me in a way because I'm now knowing exactly how much that month cost.
Yeah.
So I know that month cost $5,000 because we had a surgery, we paid strata, all these things happened. Then this month, just over $1,000, and we're halfway through the month. So it's just shedding a lot of light on where the money's going, what part of the year that money is going out. And I just feel like you've got full control over everything and your eyes are over everything, every cent.
So without knowing, Keren, without knowing your interest rate or anything like that, but roughly that $5,000 would, in rough numbers, be about $25. Right? So $25 for that month has just been created out of nowhere. So if you think about that and put it into the context of your play money, your $50. So by just doing that, there is $25 of the $50 1 month. So the coffee with the girls or lunch with the girls, that's just being paid for.
You created it
by the bank. Right? That's not even your money, and you've just created that because it's basic. So that's the point. It's like these incremental little things that we do. The 1%, as you were saying before, Keren, that's real, right? And that's money that you have created by just running a different system and a system that works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think the other big change for me with just seeing how much money we are saving and obviously not wanting to spend it when it does come to, weekends or going and doing fun things together, I actually have discovered so many ways to save money, like from booking websites where you get 50% off. I don't know why they give you 50% off. They just do.
Good. We'll take it.
When you're at the checkout, a friend showed me how you can just open a new Safari page, search that company and the word discount, and you get all these 20% discount codes. So there's just all these little things that I'm learning that, I never would have thought of. And I probably would have never taken the time to care about because I never looked at where my money was going.
It's become a bit of a game for you, which is great, right? I mean,
definitely.
Because if we round out the loop there, you set a target with your dad around buying the next property or saving money for that next property. How much has this accelerated that, and when is that next purchase planned?
Yeah, so I've got a plan. Obviously, the more I searched online for advice and help to try and get our next property, the more confused I got. Yeah. There is so much information out there. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I joined a lot of Facebook groups. I joined property groups. The more I learned, the more I realized that a lot of these people out there don't know what they're talking about. You know, even on Facebook groups, you see questions come up about investment properties and people jump on there and give their opinions. And I'm like, no. So I think, yeah, there's
We've got a big job to do. That's true. There's a lot of people out there who are naive, that's for sure.
I definitely tried to learn as much as I could, but the more I learnt, the more I realised that investing is one thing, real estate is another thing, superannuation is another thing. How am I supposed to get across all of this? It's a full-time job to know all the ins and outs about these different, you know, areas. I already have a full-time job.
Yeah.
So I need to get someone to help me. So we did get a qualified property investment advisor to help us with a plan. So now that that's all done, and that only took a few sessions, that came after Money Smarts. So he was very excited that I already had that set up.
Yeah, that's unusual. Yes. We don't have to.
Yeah, that whole experience was amazing because we were given 4 different options on what we wanted to do with our future. When I say 4 different options, we had one property. 2 of the properties involved selling that property and then getting an owner occupied or getting another investment property and what that would look like in 20 years. The other 2 were keeping that investment property and the same 2 options. We chose the one that worked best for us and that the numbers worked best for, which it was very lucky because they were the same thing. That was actually what we wanted out of the process. And now that we've got that plan in place, we don't even think about anything to do with real estate. We don't think about anything to do with mortgages or, you know, we literally don't need to actually think about anything until next year in April, May, which is when we're making another decision, which is to go rent vesting.
Yep.
We know that exactly 24 months after that, we will have enough of a buffer plus deposit for IP number 2. Yep. And then we know that exactly 24 months after that, we'll have IP3. So obviously we're going to be utilising buyer's agents for those to make sure that we get the best deal. But I think we can't be across all the changes that are happening in real estate. So we need a professional to help us out with that. So pretty much this whole plan is in place and we've just put it away because we know that we don't need to look at it for another 6 months, 8 months.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good peace of mind. There's a proverb that those without a vision will perish, and I think it equally applies to the fact that those without a vision for their money will perish. And I think what I've observed from you throughout this whole conversation is prior to having a vision around every decision you make having a context to some bigger picture vision, you were just letting money slip through, and you even said to yourself, what was too boring to save money and just put it into account, right? So now it's oozing that you've got this vision, you know where you're going, and so every dollar's got a job to do, and you are the walking proof of the Money Smart system in action, trapping surplus, and then being faced with the decision around, will I spend that on lifestyle or will I spend it on the future? You've decided to spend it on the future, but making sure that you're living a good today. So
future's looking bright.
And I think you might have some little life hacks there that I might have to delve into with a little coupon code on.
Yeah, there's something there.
Safari. I think you might need to send that to me so I can include that in the episode. But look, we appreciate you coming and sharing your story. It's not easy for people to talk about money. It's not easy for people to be as transparent as you have been.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why that is. I think that's probably just a real old school way. I think that's how it was done back in the day. But the more we talk about it, the more we can overcome the barriers that we're all facing. So I'm always open to talking about money with anyone that I meet. So
brilliant.
You're a superstar at it now. That's
why
why
you're people like you out there basically telling people that the opportunity is real.
Well, now that it's working, I'm happy to talk about it.
Well, look, don't underestimate the power of your story. There'll be people listening to this who can are trying on your story as we speak. They can see that you've moved from Pain Island to Pleasure Island, and they're thinking, well, I'd like to be on that island too. So I'll get more out of you telling the story than me and Ben banging on about the homework. So
I've been saying it for years. I've been running Money Smarts for years.
Yes.
People.
Yeah.
Really? I mean, I will say it's very exciting at the start when you're implementing all of it, but once you've got it all set in place, as well as the investment side of things, it is a bit boring.
All right, go bungee jumping, Keren.
Yeah.
Everything's sort of taken care of now, so which is amazing because now that it is boring, It's all set in place. It's set and forget, really. Now we can go and do whatever we want with the rest of our time because we have so much extra time now.
Great.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Well done. Well, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for sharing.
Thanks for coming on to the Property Couch.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
We'll look forward to seeing you get that passive income once you've got investment property number 3. Good stuff.
Sounds good. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks, Keren. All right, Ben. That was a beauty, but there was so much wisdom bombs in there. But there's one for me.
What's that one, mate?
A vacay.
A vacay?
I'm going to do a vacay.
Vacay instead of a short stay? You're going to do a vacay?
I'm going to do a vacay.
Ah, like an intrastate.
I like it.
A little short break. Very good. Yeah, nice.
How good was Keren? Folks, did you catch that at the beginning? Not so sure. Towards the end, there was so much tactical application of the Money Smart system, and the transformation has been enormous.
He's using the portal! Round of applause!
He did get excited.
Oh, wow. How could you not? I mean, everyone who's on the portal loves it. It's simple, it's easy to use, and the feedback we've been getting on the new Money Fit feature, Bryce. So I've just got to remind everyone, the Money Fit feature, get on there, compare yourself against the network, find out what you're spending on groceries, that little bonus episode that we did in December, that's there. Just have a listen to that one as well, because once you get on there and you're curious, just game yourself. Come on, have a go. How good are you? What are you trapping? How much do you spend on your expenses? Each expense item under the spotlight. Get on there and give it a go.
So the big question is this, Ben.
Yes, mate.
To all of the community.
Yes.
Are you money fit?
Are you money fit? Get on to tpc.moneysmarts.com.au.
Ben, that sounds complicated.
You can go in there in an A-list. You don't need to know. Get on. Put your household composition. Are you 2 adults, 2 kids living in New South Wales? What do you spend on groceries compared
What do you
to
do compared
everyone?
to me? Hey?
Yeah. So now, again, no names, no pack drills, but you'd be amazed at the feedback and the number of people are getting on there and going, ooh, our groceries about right. Fantastic. This is where we sit. Our expenditure on school fees, our expenditure on transport, whatever you just get on there, have a go. What about hobbies? What about all that type of stuff? Just go on there, have a go, kick the tyres on Money Fit. You'll like it.
You should fire up, Kingsley. So for the detailed people, it was tpc.moneysmarts.com.au.
No, that's real hard.
And for the people like me who got not got a memory, just go to the homepage of the Property Couch. Yep. Click on the little button at the top right-hand corner.
Oh, nice. And don't forget to get the instruction manual, which happens to be our best-selling book. Make money simple again.
What's the
.com.au.
Oh.
Hey,
so what are you saying, Ben? So what you're saying is you can go and get the book,
mate,
for free.
It's New Year specials everywhere.
Yeah.
It's obviously New Year specials. We did that Money Fit in December. Now we're into January, right? It's a great time. We're giving everything away, giving the book away.
And the portal. So Ben, what you're saying is you're delivering the information so people can have a New Year's resolution.
Yep.
That's last the whole year, not just for January.
What are we talking about here, Bryce, through the whole summer series? What have we been talking about?
Transformations and acting on it.
Acting on it. Acting on it.
There's the call cry.
There it is. So no, the tools are in front of you.
Yep.
The tools are there. The tools are free. Get amongst it,
folks. If you want to be like Keren and you want to transform your money story,
if you want to know how much surplus, Bryce, if you want to know how much surplus you can make this year, if you want to organise, trap, and thrive with your money management, it's all there.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. Take action.
Have you been holding back, mate, or is that?
Well, everything's been built. It's been a great summer series so far. We're not done.
No,
we're not
done.
Plenty
more.
But there's plenty more as part of this New Year celebration. I just think it's important to get the message out there to people.
I love it, Ben. I love it. So, folks, as Ben said, the whole summer series has been around a theme of those people who have not only had the knowledge, but they have acted on it. And Keren was one of those. So I enjoyed that interview immensely. And Ben, we've got plenty more where that came from. So until next week.
Well, I've been rabbiting one, haven't I? Knowledge is empowering. And I'll tell you what, if you don't act on it, I'm going to come and find you. Until next week.
Folks, if you want to avoid old mate coming and finding you, you should just well and truly act on it. But otherwise, we will see you next week. Hey there folks, Bryce Holdaway here. Before you go, if you're new to our community and only listen to maybe a handful of episodes, I thoroughly recommend that you go all the way back to episode number 1, where we unpack all of the foundations when it comes to property investing. Now, for those of you that might be a little bit time poor, I've got good news for you. we have a binge guide that you can download straight away, which summarises the first 20 episodes where Ben and I unpack the foundational pillars of the A, B, C, D, and so much more. And you can get that straight away. If you go to thepropertycouch.com.au/TPC20, you can download it and consume it whenever you want. It's completely free and available now. And for those of you, just a quick reminder that nothing we've spoken about today constitutes financial advice. We recommend that you reach out to your licensed professional advisor so that you can look at your unique circumstances before acting on any information. Now don't forget, go to thepropertycouch.com.au/TPC20 and get your binge guide today.